because the Sonic block is continuing with Nimputs coming up very shortly, playing Sonic Triple Trouble as Tails, looking to just beat the game. It's going to be a real fun run, I think. Let me just think, actually, what have we seen so far? We've seen Omens, we've seen Frontiers, we've seen Rivals. I guess this isn't the first 2D game, but it's definitely the first classic Sonic game that we're going to be seeing here in the marathon. Unless I've completely forgotten something. Let me refresh my memory real quick. Yeah, well, Sonic R. I guess Sonic R is classic, but it's, you know, either way, nevertheless. It's in that sort of weird, funny Saturn-era ballpark, isn't it? But hey, classic Sonic action is always fun, no matter what time period it's coming from. And Nimputs is going to put on a great show here, I'm sure. Donations-wise, we're currently sitting at $247. It's going to be getting very, very close, or we are getting very, very close to that $250 mark. Just $3, even as little as that, would take us to that point. It would be an absolutely amazing thing to hit this early. But absolutely anything that can be donated is appreciated and would be absolutely amazing. Going towards Children's Miracle Network hospitals and Extra Life. Absolutely fantastic cause, and hope to see that number go up. But without further ado, let's get things going, and let's pass things over to Nimputs, who is about to take things away. Best of luck.
Alright, hi everyone, I'm Nim, and I'm doing Sonic Triple Trouble. So this is a game that originally came out on Sega Game Gear, which is why it lags like absolute hell, but I think it makes up for it by having really cool, satisfying movement. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna be choosing Tails because, yes, you know, he can fly, so it makes a couple stuff a bit easier, and I will be starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so the first level here is a bit designed like a giant pinball table, so a lot of things can go wrong, and I have an immediate risk of looking like an absolute fool right out of the gate, so let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, good start, perfect. So, there's a lot of, like, really lots of floatiness, lots of bouncing and stuff in this level. That's not good. But, yeah, something that's very notable in this game is you have, like, a massive amount of air control. And we really need to control our jumps, our bounces, our flights very particularly here to make it through these levels very smoothly. You have, I think, significantly more air control than in like the 16-bit games. So you can, depending on where mid-air you change your you change into ball form, or where you change flight, or how you hold your angles and such, you have a lot of options to change your jump trajectory. That's not went well. But in any case, yeah, I made it back up, so we are good. Not exactly how this level is supposed to go. There's a really hard, like, strat here, which is the tied IL world record of 17 seconds, where you basically just not touch the floor at any point during the level. But that is ridiculously hard. That took me like 15 hours or something to grind out. So not going for that in a run. But yeah, I made it through eventually. So we are here already coming up to the first boss. It's pretty straightforward. Little bit of a stage right at the beginning, and then a pretty simple boss. We're gonna have one hop over here, and then the boss down here. He's gonna require 4 hits right here at the bottom of the water, and then we go up and hit him 4 times there, and that'll be the boss. This boss, like, is a really good showcase of just your ability to change your movement state mid-air. So after you hit a spring, you're not in ball form, you're in this jump animation, but you can just press the A button and go into ball form. And that not only obviously makes you able to hit the boss, but it also, which gets used for movement a lot, really changes your jump trajectory, and which other movement states you can go into from there. So being aware of your movement states is very important for this game. So this level is neat. There is one very important jump that I have to make here, and that is over here. Very good. And now I have a lot of momentum carrying for the next section. If I wasn't just like a pixel too late on that jump, that's fine. We can make it back here. Was supposed to hit that spring there, because that can send you very nicely right over to the end, but I hit the goalpost pretty immediately anyway, so that's nice. So the next level is one of my favorites. It's just like some really neat movement. Just like, you know, carrying a lot of momentum, being very particular about when you jump and how you go through the air. So this next level is kind of like a perfect showcase of just like the smooth movement in this game, just keeping up momentum and such, even without any real you know, spin dashing or so. So I mentioned at the beginning that this game lags a lot, and that unfortunately cause a lot of inputs, to drop a lot of inputs. That's what happened there. So if you run this game, I'm always going off about how satisfying the movement is in this game. That is true, but you will have a bit of a love-hate relationship of this game, because like half the time it just doesn't do what it's supposed to, because you just press a button 5 times and nothing happens. So that's fun. It's a bit of grinding RNG. Anyways, this is the only time the game transitions smoothly between 2 acts without an intermission, and this boss is an auto-scroller. It looks at the beginning a little bit like they were gonna do a little bit of platforming here, but then after like 10 seconds they forgot about that, and then nothing happens for the entire rest of the auto-scroller anymore. So we have a good time to read some donations here if we have any.
We absolutely do. We have 2 donations that have just come in. We have a $3 donation from Wither, saying, first-time donator, first-time viewer, last-time donator. I hate Sonic. So glad the blue bastard isn't in this run. Kill the frames, save the child. Thank you very much, Wither. And we have a $5 donation immediately afterwards, knocking Wither off that most recent donation spot, from Anik, saying, Tethys, with, I count, 8 exclamation marks. So thank you very much to those 2, and we shall continue to hopefully see that number grow, as we have actually passed $250 now.
Let's go.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you for the donations. This boss, there's like immediately when you come up to it, you can hit him, and for the longest time I didn't know how to do it. And yesterday I actually figured it out, and turns out all I have to do is spam the A button, and that's it. Then you get the free extra cycle. So that's pretty simple. So this next zone here, Meta Junglera. I don't know what a Junglera is. Please don't ask. I think it's a Japanese pop culture reference, but I don't know. Anyways, this level is full of bouncy balls, and I will do my best to avoid those as best as I can in this level. If I manage to do that, this is actually probably the most consistent level in the run. So there's a very consistent setup here to get through these bouncy balls very cleanly. And here I'm gonna try to weave through as much of them as I can. So there's a giant field of bouncy balls above me there. And if I hit the spring, it just sends me straight into there, and I just get bounced back and forth for like 10 seconds, and we don't want that. There's for the IL, there's a super precise strat where you go super particularly on the spring and then maneuver in between the bouncy balls and then start a flight at a very particular point. But that is so precise, I'm not gonna bother with that. I'm just, for the run, I just weave around. Much easier. So MJ2, also very cool level, very cool movement. First we have to climb up a little here. Here once again making use of mid-air ball form to change the jump trajectory. Dang it. Need to get a jump here to bounce back. Nope, that was too high. So there you go, there's the bouncy balls in action. Fortunately, that is not too bad. So here's a intended shortcut that I have to do a pretty particular... I'm missing everything right now. It's fine. So, there is like a strat where you can bounce off of the, you know, this item that I picked up where Tails goes on the bumper. And there's a setup to jump into it and then get a bounce off of it, and then at the peak of the jump off of it. So you get into this dev intended shortcut, which I unfortunately missed. But that's a cool strat. And also going out of the shortcut, there's a pretty important strat that you kind of jump in the tunnel. Because for some reason that allows you to fly out of the tunnel. If you just land in the tunnel and just roll through it, you cannot fly out of the tunnel. And that is the fastest strat to get out of there. So once again, a section where you have to be aware of your movement states and, you know, particular kinds of things you have to do to do the next correct move. So you can't always just get Tails into a flight. You have to hit certain conditions, and I don't fully understand what those conditions are, to be honest. But yeah, sometimes you just have to do something like jump into a ceiling before you go over ledge or something for it to work, and sometimes not. It is very strange. You have to, yeah. Lots of small details you have to be aware of in this game to get the movement right. By the way, this was a boss where we didn't really have to do anything. We just kind of wait for him to throw fire at us and not hit us. So this next level is one of the shortest. This also is a pretty simple tied world record here of 18 seconds. It does kind of rely on a strat though that needs it to get 2 particular tunnel jumps while the game lags like hell because blocks are breaking, so it's not very consistent. I'll try it, I guess. Nope, did not work. So we'll do the backup where we just spin dash through, and that allows us to get a consistent flight out of the tunnel. And there is the end of the level. By the way, these signs at the end here, they can sometimes, when you hit them, they go up and then land, and then sometimes they just face with the back of the sign towards the screen, and then you have to hit it again. That's what we call the troll sign that loses like 3 seconds. It's very, very funny. So this next level is the closest thing we have to like a make or break level skip in this game. There's a very precise dev-intended shortcut where I have to get a very particular jump into an ice tunnel in ball form to break the blocks, so I can't just fly into it. So we'll see if I get that here. Jump, jump, hold back. Very nice, perfect. Even carried perfectly the momentum through the loop, so I'm very happy I got that, given how bad previous levels went. I'm glad I at least got pretty much the one make or break trick that this run has. And there's a little bit of a zip here in the ceiling that I can use to skip the loop, which is actually a trick I found by accident. It's the only thing I contributed to the speedrun. If you fly, if you go like after you go up the wind in ball form to get extra height and then start a flight, you can fly into the up left corner next to the loop, and that kind of zips you upwards. So you just skip going around the loop and then back up. Pretty small skip, but it's pretty cool. It's the only like useful clip through actual collision in this game anywhere. Like this game is otherwise glitchless. So this again is a pretty annoying climb up the wall. You're not supposed to be able to spin dash on these steep slopes, but if you just hold down and right the whole time, then you can do it for some reason. And so the best strat to go up here easily is to just hold down and upright the whole time and just start a spin dash whenever you stop. And this boss is just a whole bunch of damage boosting, and then we fall down this hole. For the record, if you fall down this hole before defeating the boss, you die. So I don't know how this hole works, but the game knows apparently. So next level is Tidal Plant. Tidal Plant is the water level, and it's also by far the longest level in the game. And this level is, I think, like the only reason why I wouldn't really consider myself a top runner of this game, because for mostly every other level I have like tight or am very close to like the optimal possible time. But for this level, like the movement in this little submarine here called the Sea Fox, this movement here with this thing has such a ridiculously high skill ceiling. There is so much you can optimize here. It is absolutely ridiculous. And this is the level where I'm like still a couple seconds away from like the optimal time. Doing this optimally is so ridiculously difficult. And yeah, this is by far my, you know, the biggest gap I have between like top runners of this game, like Worcester and Dark Pro. And yeah, this might look trivial, you know, just like moving around here with a Sea Fox, but there's so much with like positioning, with where you charge your boost, and you know, conserving momentum and such, and how you hold your directions and such, that goes into the Sea Fox movement here that you can optimize. And I keep slipping off of my boost charge, but it's fine. But yeah, the Sea Fox is very useful. It allows us to go through a lot of shortcuts and generally have a lot more freedom of movement in the water. So basically, if we get hit, which sometimes can randomly happen because there's a lot of weird hit detection with obstacles underwater here in the Sea Fox that I don't really understand. So sometimes I just get hit randomly and I don't know why, and then my run is dead. And then your run is dead because you lost the Sea Fox, which saves like a minute in this level because the route you take is just so much quicker. You move quicker. It is very crucial to have that. And now for the second one, nope, I slightly mistimed my ball form here, so I did not have as much momentum going to the right as I wanted to, but it's fine. So there's an IL strat here. We going under this falling spike ball here, and if you're very quick with setting up the boost with the Sea Fox, you can break through here without waiting for the spike ball, but it's super risky. So I don't want to do that here. I don't think I've ever done it in a run. Have it in my IL, but in runs I always just wait for it. So careful of this spike ball here, don't want to be too far to the right. And now we're gonna purposely lose the Sea Fox because we cannot progress with the Sea Fox into these pipes. And now we have a couple blocks to break, and then there's some zigzag down the rest of the level, and we're done here.
Do we think we have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, absolutely.
So well, I may say a quick donation, but it's an absolutely massive donation. We've got Brandino coming in with the $45 donation to take us to the originally set $300 mark, which we were aiming for at the start of the marathon, and we've absolutely crushed it less than 6 hours in, which is incredible. So thank you to everybody who's donated. Thank you especially to Brandino for chipping in $60 so far, the top donator of the stream, and the most recent with that $45. Brandino says, !Tethys. Also, go Nim, you're the GOAT, I love you. We love you too, Brandino, and we love everybody. We're gonna need to look at upping the goal now, seeing about what we can do, because that is incredible, absolutely incredible that everybody's chipped in to get us this far. But I'll let you get back to it, Nim.
Yep.
But thank you so much to everybody.
So this boss has no gameplay. Can I get some oh no's in chat? That's the boss. It's a bit harder with Sonic, but yeah, not a lot going on here. But anyways, we are now already getting into the final zone of the game, which has the very funny name, Atomic Destroyer. This level is kind of like a pipe maze, as they like to do in the 8-bit games. So it's very important here to remember the route. Otherwise, the execution isn't too difficult. I just hope I don't have a brain moment here. But there is some tricky bits of movement. For example, doing a spin dash jump off of here, which I did successfully. So that's cool. And now here is one of the few actual bottomless pits in the game. So I'm gonna get over this by doing a flight here. These springs that I just went over, they can like bounce you around in a very nasty way, in a way that you always react to it wrong, and then you eventually get bounced back into the bottomless pit. So that section is significantly more dangerous than it looks. But yeah, that's the first one, first atomic destroyer. And off into the second one. Pretty much more of the same, just kind of pipe mazes the start. There's a little bit of a glitch. Not really a glitch, it's more like a damage boost, and it skips an animation. So there's these elevators here, and if you hit these with a lot of speed at the top, you can kind of fall down the elevator without going through the slow movement of the elevator. I'm gonna attempt to do that here. Dang it, didn't miss it, didn't get it, unfortunately. So, for getting that there, it's pretty important how your timing... forgot the level layout, wrong hole. It's pretty important what your timing is with a flight, so I did my flight there a little early. Which means I was actually too high up on the elevator. And now I have to do awkward backup. There we go. So it ate an input of mine, and then the very powerful Sonic Triple Trouble momentum physics carried me all the way over to the right, and I had to backtrack. So that wasn't too nice. But yeah. So we are now going into the final level, which is the longest level by far in the game. It's kind of a boss rush, and for a lot of not much happens. At the beginning we kind of have a chase sequence with Metal Sonic, which I suspect this is where the authors of Sonic.exe got their inspiration from, because just look at this. This is 100% Sonic.exe, it's inspiration, like, come on. Anyways, we now have to face Metal Sonic, and literally all he does is go left and right, and we just have to wait until he's done, basically. So he always does 4 sweeps that we can hit him in. And then we have 6 sweeps where we have to dodge him. The slightly annoying thing about this is that the timing for the sweeps where you have to dodge and the timing for the sweeps where you have to hit him is slightly different. The dodge sweeps are a bit slower than the hit sweeps, so something to just get used to, be aware of, but it's, in any case, it's not very difficult to do. One more phase of dodges here, and then we can finish Metal Sonic off. There we go. So we're going through a bit of an kind of an act transition, more or less, here. There's like a teleporter here, and afterwards is a checkpoint, which I will hit, because the final boss has a strat that is pretty risky that I will go for, and I don't want to have to redo Metal Sonic. But before we get there, there's 2 other bosses, and these bosses are very weird, because I genuinely do not understand their hit detection. I have no clue how many hits they take, I have no clue what exactly counts as a hit, but if you bounce on him, he eventually goes away. Pretty quickly. There you go, he's had enough. And this guy here, we can just kind of barely hit him here, and the trick here is to just never get below him with no momentum. So you kind of always want to move back and forth, because as soon as he's right above you and you're not moving, he does his attack. So the longer you can avoid doing that, the better. You can kind of get in the corner here and get probably double hits, but since I don't understand how hit detection works, I don't actually know if those are double hits. So we'll have to see. But yeah, now the boss goes into kind of his desperation phase, where we kind of hit him here a couple times, and then we go into the final boss, where I'm going to do some very particular damage boosting. So I'll try to focus here that I get this. So that's 1, 2, 3. I'm dead. Yeah. So what I'm trying to do there, I'm gonna give this one more shot. I guess I have a generous estimate, so I'm gonna give this one more shot. What I'm trying to do there is, so this boss kind of goes like, I should get rings. This boss kind of goes left and right, like from the right side to the left side, kind of circles around the boss arena. And at the beginning, I just damage boost 3 hits. And then as he goes around, he slowly slows down. And that eventually gives you a good timing for switching back and forth from left to right to get hits more quickly, more efficiently, so you don't have to wait for him to come back around. And during that time of the boss, the best way to do that is to spin dash out of the little chamber on the right and start a flight. And if you do that in the correct timing, you bounce against the boss and bounce back into the right side chamber, and you recollect the ring that you previously damage boosted. So it's very important that you don't immediately recollect the ring that you just lost. You just have to be brave enough to just spin dash out of it after getting hit and just hoping that you get bounced back. So that is very hard to do reliably. I'll try it one more time. That's 1, 2. I was too slow again. Yeah. Should I give it one more try? Should I give it one more? Whoops. Didn't mean to open the menu there. I don't think even my PB has this. I got my PB before I figured this trick out. So I have potential a lot of time save here in my PB once I get a run here and manage to beat it. I was pretty good at it on practice, but you know how it is with marathons. Oh well, this guy again. I think for the sake of it, I'll just take it safe now, so I don't hold up the marathon for too long, because I reckon it's not too interesting to watch these 3 bosses over and over again until I eventually get my stupid bounce strat. It is really cool though, like you kind of, you just, while having invincibility frames, you bounce back around. And yeah, get 2 very efficient hits. Alright, I'll do this boss the safe way now. I will just simply stay in this chamber for 2 more rounds and then go to the left. It's 3, 4... 5... Am I dead again? That would be embarrassing if I talk about doing it the safe way and then die anyways. Glad that didn't happen. But yeah, you can tell this is just like constant constant damage boosting here. I'm gonna switch back to the right again. He does kind of like between cycles, he does like an attack that bounces you out of the chamber and fills the inside of the arena with lightning. And if you're on the right during that, the right side is where he's at, then you just die. There's nothing you can do. Anyways, time will be when Tails collects the Chaos Emerald, so that is time. And yeah, that was Sonic Triple Trouble with Tails. Sorry, that run was a bit of a mess. I was hoping it'd be bit cleaner, but I hope you had fun anyways. Give the game a shot. There's not a lot of runners for this game. I think this game has very satisfying movement, even if it's a bit annoying sometimes with dropping inputs and stuff. If you're somebody who has a bit of a knack for games that also bully them, if you enjoy having a bit of a love-hate relationship with your speed game, try this one out. It's excellent. As I've said, very satisfying movement and pretty quick, pretty simple to learn, and yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, GG Nimp, thank you for putting on a good show. Plenty fun to watch, even if not necessarily ideal, but still a good time. Anybody you want to shout out or just plug or anything like that before we sign off?
Dark Pro is good at this game, but he doesn't play it anymore, but he helped me learning a couple of stuff in the past with this, a couple of stuff that I didn't fully understand, so yeah, shoutouts to Dark Pro, I guess, but yeah, he's not active, unfortunately, but yeah, he had the record in this category at some point, so yeah, shoutouts to him. And he always shows up in my stream as well when I stream this, so that's cool.
Alright, love to see it. And that will be that then. Shoutouts once again to everybody who's donated so far and gotten us to the $300 mark, which is incredible. Without a shadow of a doubt, that is an absolutely incredible thing to do this early. We're trying to push for $500 now if we can do that. Let's see if we can make a start on the journey towards that number, but for the time being, we'll sign off. And I'll also sign off for the time being because we're switching hosts over to the wonderful Victory Cannon. And we'll be back shortly with more Not the Same action. Say goodbye. You won't do it. Nim isn't saying goodbye.
Oh, I was waving at the camera, so people were at least seeing it. But yeah, goodbye, everyone.
Alright, be back shortly, gamers. Bye-bye.